Have you ever stared at a blank page, knowing you need to write that report, but instead, you find yourself deep cleaning the kitchen grout with a toothbrush? Or maybe you have a big project due and suddenly, organizing your sock drawer becomes the most urgent task in the world. If this sounds familiar, you're not alone. This is the classic tale of procrastination, and I am here to tell you something that might change how you see it forever. Procrastination isn't a sign of laziness. It's not a character flaw or a time management problem. At its core, procrastination is an emotional regulation issue. It's about feelings, not productivity. Let's break this down. When we face a task that feels overwhelming, boring, or difficult, our brain perceives it as a threat. This triggers negative emotions like anxiety, self-doubt, fear of failure, or even fear of success. What if I can't do it perfectly? What if people judge my work? What if it's too hard and I get stuck? These feelings are uncomfortable, and our natural instinct is to avoid discomfort. So, we turn to something else, anything else that provides immediate relief. Watching one more episode, scrolling through social media, or tackling a simple, mindless chore. Instant gratification. The anxiety subsides, but only for a moment. This is what psychologists call an amygdala hijack. The emotional part of your brain takes over the logical part, seeking short-term relief over long-term gain. The problem is, the original task doesn't disappear. It just looms larger, now with an added layer of guilt and stress for not having started it sooner. This creates a vicious cycle. The task feels even more daunting, triggering more negative emotions, leading to more avoidance. So how do we break this cycle? The secret isn't to just do it or to find a better planner. The secret is to manage the emotions, not just the task. The first step is self-compassion. Forgive yourself for procrastinating. Beating yourself up only adds to the negative feelings and makes it harder to start. Recognize that you're not lazy. You're just trying to cope with difficult emotions. Acknowledging this is incredibly powerful. It shifts the problem from what's wrong with me to what am I feeling and why. Once you've acknowledged the feeling, you can start to address the root cause. Let's talk about the big one. Fear of failure. This often stems from perfectionism. We believe that if we can't do something perfectly, we shouldn't do it at all. This all-or-nothing thinking is paralyzing. The antidote? Redefine what done looks like. Aim for good enough instead of perfect. Give yourself permission to produce a messy first draft. Remember, you can't edit a blank page. The goal is just to get something down anything. Another common fear is the fear of judgment. We worry about what others will think of our work. To counter this, try to shift your focus from the external outcome to the internal process. Focus on the effort you're putting in and the learning you're gaining, rather than the potential criticism from others. Another key strategy is to make the task less intimidating. The sheer size of a project can be overwhelming. Write a 10,000-word thesis sounds impossible. But write the first paragraph of the introduction? That sounds manageable. This is the power of breaking things down into ridiculously small steps. Your only goal for today might be to open the document and write a single sentence. That's it. Celebrate that tiny win. This technique, sometimes called the 2-minute rule, builds momentum. Once you've started for just 2 minutes, it's often much easier to continue. You're tricking your brain into getting past that initial wall of resistance. The start is always the hardest part. Let's also consider the environment. If your workspace is filled with distractions, you're making it easy for your brain to seek that feel-good escape. Set up your environment for success. Put your phone in another room. Close unnecessary browser tabs. Create a dedicated space for work. This reduces the friction between you and the task. The easier it is to start, the less likely you are to feel that initial wave of dread. This is where having the right tools can make a huge difference. Think about anything that makes the process smoother. Whether it's a comfortable chair, a good keyboard, or noise-canceling headphones. Anything that reduces the barrier to entry is your friend in the fight against procrastination. Now, let's talk about a powerful psychological trick. Temptation bundling. This involves pairing an activity you enjoy with a task you've been avoiding. For example, you only allow yourself to listen to your favorite podcast while you're doing the dishes. Or you can only watch your favorite show while you're on the treadmill. This links the unpleasant task with an immediate reward, retraining your brain to associate it with something positive. You start to look forward to the task because it comes with a treat. What about when you feel completely unmotivated and just can't bring yourself to start? Try visualizing your future self. Imagine how relieved and proud you'll feel once the task is complete. Think about the stress that will be lifted from your shoulders. This future-oriented thinking can provide the motivational boost you need to push through the present discomfort. Conversely, you can also think about the cost of inaction. What will happen if you continue to put this off? Visualizing the negative consequences can also be a powerful motivator. It's also crucial to understand your own procrastination style. Are you an avoider who fears failure or judgment? Or are you a thrill seeker who gets a rush from finishing things at the last minute? Maybe you're an indecisive who gets so bogged down in making the perfect choice that you never start at all. Understanding your personal pattern can help you choose the most effective strategies. For the thrill seeker, creating earlier, self-imposed deadlines with real stakes might work. For the indecisive, limiting your options and setting a timer to make a decision can be a game changer. Ultimately, remember that the most powerful cure for the fear that drives procrastination is action. Not thinking about the action, not planning the action, but taking the first, tiny, imperfect step. Motion creates emotion. Once you start moving, even in the smallest way, your perspective begins to shift. You prove to yourself that you can handle it. The task becomes less scary, and your confidence grows. Move first, then adjust your course later. Don't wait for motivation to strike. Motivation doesn't lead to action. Action leads to motivation. So, the next time you find yourself alphabetizing your spice rack instead of filing your taxes, take a moment. Pause. Ask yourself, what am I feeling right now? What am I afraid of? Be kind to yourself. Break the task down into a laughably small first step, and then just take that step. Action cures fear. It's the most reliable way to break the cycle and reclaim your time and your peace of mind. To make starting even easier, it helps to have tools that reduce friction and make your tasks more enjoyable. I found some great items on Amazon that do just that, from focus aids to ergonomic gear. I've put together a list with some amazing deals for you. You can find the link in the description below. Thanks so much for watching. If this resonated with you, please hit that like button and subscribe for more insights into psychology and productivity. Let me know in the comments what task you've been procrastinating on and what small step you were going to take today. You've got this.